Welcome. Let everything release now. Let your body sink into rest. Let the day dissolve like mist in morning sun. Tonight, I'm going to tell you two stories. Both come from the Mahabharata, but not from the war itself. These are quieter moments, moments between the great events, moments when men sit alone in forests and discover what it means to surrender, to let go, to find peace not through victory but through acceptance. The first is about Arjuna, the greatest warrior, sitting alone beneath the stars on the night before everything changes. The second is about a hermit, a wandering sage who learns wisdom from a simple fire. Both stories are slow, both are gentle. There is no danger here, no battle, just the forest, just the night. Just the quiet wisdom that comes when we finally stop running. You don't need to follow every word. Let the stories flow around you like night wind through leaves. If sleep finds you halfway through, let it come. That's exactly right. Let your breath slow. Let your shoulders drop. Let the forest welcome you. The first story begins now. There was a forest, deep and old, where the trees grew so tall their tops disappeared into darkness and the ground was soft with centuries of fallen leaves. It was the kind of place where armies camped on their way to war, where travelers stopped to rest, where hermits came to be forgotten. On this night, the forest was full. Thousands of men, warriors, soldiers, the Pandava army, camped in clearings and beneath trees, their fires scattered like fallen stars across the darkness. They sharpened weapons, they told stories, they ate rice from brass bowls and drank water from leather skins and tried not to think about what tomorrow would bring. Tomorrow, the war would begin, the great war. The war that would tear families apart, that would fill the earth with blood, that would end an age and begin another. But tonight, there was only waiting. And in that waiting, one man walked alone. His name was Arjuna, prince, warrior, the greatest archer the world had ever known, the beloved of Krishna, the one everyone looked to when they needed strength, when they needed courage, when they needed someone to stand and not fall. But tonight, Arjuna did not feel strong. He felt tired, bone tired, soul tired, the kind of tired that comes not from the body but from carrying too much for too long. He walked through the camp, past the fires, past the voices, until he reached the edge where the forest grew dark and the sounds of men faded into the sounds of night. Crickets, owls, wind through leaves. He kept walking, not because he had somewhere to go, but because he needed to be alone. He walked until the camp was far behind him, until the only light was the moon filtering through the branches above, pale and cold and distant. And then he stopped. Before him stood a tree, enormous, ancient. Its trunk was wider than three men standing side by side, its bark deeply furrowed, its roots spreading out across the ground like veins beneath skin. Arjuna stood before it, and for the first time in days, maybe weeks, he let himself stop. He sat down, his back against the trunk, his legs folded, his hands resting on his knees. He closed his eyes, and he breathed. The forest was quiet, not silent, never silent. There were sounds, always sounds. The rustle of small creatures moving through the undergrowth, the call of a nightjar, the creak of branches settling, the whisper of wind. But beneath those sounds, there was a deeper quiet, a stillness. Arjuna sat in it. He didn't try to meditate, didn't try to pray, didn't try to do anything. He just sat, and slowly the thoughts came. Tomorrow he would fight. Tomorrow he would stand on a battlefield and face an army. Not strangers, not enemies he could hate, but his own family, his cousins, his uncles, his teachers, men he had grown up with, men who had taught him how to hold a bow, how to string an arrow, how to be a warrior, and he would have to kill them, or they would kill him. That was dharma, that was duty, that was what Krishna had told him, again and again, in words so clear and so true that Arjuna could not argue. But knowing it didn't make it easier. Knowing it didn't take away the weight in his chest, the heaviness that made every breath feel like lifting a stone. He opened his eyes. Above him, through the branches, he could see the stars, thousands of them, infinite, cold and distant and beautiful. How small he felt. How small this war felt. How small everything felt beneath that vast sky. And yet, tomorrow, he would fight, because that was what he was born to do, because that was his role, his place in the great unfolding. But tonight, just for tonight, he let himself feel the weight of it. The hours passed. The moon moved across the sky, the shadows shifted, the forest breathed, and Arjuna sat. At some point, he heard footsteps, soft, careful, someone approaching through the trees. He didn't turn. He didn't reach for his bow. He knew those footsteps. A figure emerged from the shadows and sat down beside him. Krishna, friend, guide, God in human form. Though he never said so, he simply sat, cross-legged, his back against the same tree, his hands resting gently on his knees. For a long time, neither of them spoke. And then Krishna said, very softly, "You're afraid." Arjuna didn't deny it. "I am." Krishna nodded. "Good." Arjuna looked at him, surprised. "Good?" Krishna smiled faintly. "Fear means you understand what's at stake. Fear means you care. Only fools walk into war without fear." He looked up at the stars. "But fear doesn't have to stop you." Arjuna was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "How do I carry this? How do I fight tomorrow knowing what I know, knowing who they are, knowing what this will cost?" Krishna turned to him. "You carry it by letting go." Arjuna frowned. "Let go?" Krishna nodded. "Let go of the outcome. Let go of the control. Let go of the belief that you can save everyone, fix everything, make it all right." His voice was gentle, not unkind, just true. "You are not the author of this story, Arjuna. You are a part of it. You have a role, but the story itself is bigger than you, older than you. It will unfold whether you fight or not." He paused. "The only question is, will you play your part with presence, with honor, or will you turn away because it's hard?" Arjuna looked down at his hands. They were strong hands, scarred hands, hands that had held a bow for as long as he could remember. But tonight, they felt empty. "I don't know if I can," he whispered. Krishna reached out and placed his hand on Arjuna's shoulder. "You can, not because you're strong, but because you're willing." He squeezed gently. "That's all surrender is, Arjuna. Not weakness, not giving up, just willingness. Willingness to do what must be done. Willingness to let the outcome be what it will be." He smiled. "The rest is not yours to carry." They sat together until dawn. The sky lightened, gray to pale blue to the color of honey. The stars faded. The birds began to sing. And when the light was full enough to see by, Krishna stood. He looked down at Arjuna. "It's time." Arjuna nodded. He stood. His legs were stiff. His body was tired. But something in him had shifted. Not fixed, not healed, just shifted. He looked at Krishna. "Thank you." Krishna smiled. "I didn't do anything. You already knew. He turned and walked back toward the camp, and Arjuna followed, not because he wanted to, but because it was time, and because he had learned in that long night beneath the stars that some things cannot be avoided, only accepted. Some weights cannot be set down, only carried with grace. Some battles cannot be won, only fought with honor, and that was enough. And now, the second story unfolds. Somewhere else, another forest, another time, there was a hermit, old. So old his hair was white as cloud, his skin thin as paper. He lived alone in a small hut made of mud and thatch, deep in the forest where no one came, where the only sounds were wind and water and the calls of animals. He had been a scholar once, a teacher, a man who knew the scriptures by heart, who could recite the Vedas without pause, who had students who traveled from distant lands just to hear him speak. But that was long ago. Now, he lived simply. He ate what the forest gave him: roots, berries, leaves. He drank from the stream. He slept on the ground. And every evening, he sat by a small fire and watched the flames. That was all he did, watch the fire. Not because he was cold. The nights were mild. Not because he needed light. He had lived in darkness long enough to know his way. He watched because the fire taught him. One evening, as he sat watching the flames, a young man appeared. He came out of the forest suddenly, breathing hard, his clothes torn, his face streaked with dirt. He saw the hermit and stopped. "Please," he said, "I'm lost. I've been walking for days. I need help." The hermit looked at him calmly. "Sit." The young man hesitated, then sat down across from the fire. The hermit said nothing. He simply watched the flames. The young man waited. When no help came, no questions, no conversation, he spoke again. "Can you help me find my way back? To the road? To the village?" The hermit was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "What are you running from?" The young man blinked. "I'm not running. I'm just lost." The hermit's eyes remained on the fire. "Everyone who comes to the forest is running from something." The young man looked away, and after a moment, he said quietly, "My father wants me to take over his business, to marry, to settle down, but I don't want that life. So I left. I thought if I walked far enough, I'd find something else." The hermit nodded. "And did you?" The young man laughed bitterly. "No, I just got lost." The hermit gestured to the fire. "Watch." The young man frowned. "Watch what?" "The fire." The young man looked at the flames. They crackled softly, orange and yellow, dancing, shifting. "What am I supposed to see?" The hermit didn't answer. They sat in silence. Minutes passed. The fire burned. The wood popped. The smoke rose into the dark sky. And slowly, the young man's mind began to quiet. He stopped thinking about where he was going, stopped thinking about what he was running from. He just watched the way the flames moved, the way they consumed the wood, the way they gave light and heat, and then, eventually, faded to embers, to ash, and in the watching, something shifted. The hermit spoke again. "The fire doesn't worry about what it was. It doesn't hold on to the wood. It doesn't fear becoming ash." He paused. "It burns, and in burning, it gives light, warmth. And when its time is done, it lets go." The young man looked at him. "Are you saying I should just accept my father's wishes?" The hermit shook his head. "I'm saying you should stop running, not because you have to go back, but because running doesn't take you anywhere. It just keeps you moving. He looked at the young man. Sit with what you're afraid of. Watch it the way you watch this fire. Don't run from it. Don't try to fix it. Just be with it. He turned back to the flames. And then, when you're ready, you'll know what to do. Not because someone told you, but because you listened. The young man stayed by the fire that night. He didn't sleep much. He just sat and watched and thought, and by morning, something in him had settled. He didn't know what he would do. Didn't know if he'd go back or keep walking or find some third path he hadn't seen yet. But he knew he didn't need to run anymore. He could just be here, now, with the fear, with the uncertainty, with the not knowing, and that was enough. When the sun rose, he stood. The hermit was already awake, adding wood to the morning fire. The young man bowed. "Thank you." The hermit nodded. "The road is that way. When you're ready." The young man smiled. "Maybe I'll walk a little longer first." The hermit smiled too. "Good." And the young man walked back into the forest. Not running, just walking, present with each step, each breath, learning, as the hermit had learned, as the fire had taught, that surrender is not giving up. It's letting go of the need to control. It's trusting that the path will unfold. It's being willing to burn, to give, to become ash, and in that willingness, to find freedom. And so both stories end. Arjuna walking toward his battle, the young man walking deeper into the forest, both learning the same truth, that surrender is not weakness. It's the greatest strength. Let that strength hold you now. Let your body rest. Let your mind release. Let the night take everything you've been carrying. There is nothing you need to solve, nothing you need to fix, nothing you need to become. You are already whole. You are already enough. You are already free. Sleep now. Let the fire burn down. Let the stars watch over you. Let the morning come when it comes.